David Sams, and this is CIA, Contagious Influencers of America, from the producers of Keep the Faith. And I'm so stoked to have Dennis Quaid, the great actor, Dennis Quaid, with us today. Of course, Dennis, he's been iconic for decades. You probably remember The Right Stuff, one of my favorite all-time movies. Then there was, of course, Great Balls of Fire. Music was absolutely phenomenal. And then, of course, Breaking Away. I mean, we could go on and on and on. But Dennis is just a remarkable actor. But he's not here today to talk about his acting. He's here today to talk about his new gospel album, and it's called Fallen, a gospel record for sinners, which last time I checked, that includes all of us. So Dennis is going to be with us in just a second and talk about this and talk about his upbringing. He's always been a believer. He was raised in a Baptist church. His granddaddy taught him to play the guitar, got his first guitar. He grew up on a lot of these great songs. And the album is a combination of hymns that we grew up on, like I'll Fly Away, Just As I Am, Amazing Grace. And then there are original songs that he has recorded. So, you know what? Let's give you a little taste of it. For all of you watching on YouTube, we can do that. Let's roll a little videotape here, and then I'll be right back.
Now I'm on my way to heaven. I'm on my way to heaven. On my way to heaven. So I can't be staying long.
He's going to talk about that. He's going to talk about overcoming addiction. Because in the 80s, Hollywood was Hollywood, and the drug of choice was cocaine, and he got hooked. But he was smart enough to go to rehab, and God gave him his second chance. And look what has happened ever since then. He's brought us so many great treasures to over the years with the movies and now this great music. So he's going to talk about that. He's going to talk about his family life and his love for his wife and kids, and he's going to talk about moving to Nashville. At least half the time he's here, 6 months out of the year. So he hasn't quite escaped from LA yet, but he's working on it. So Dennis is going to be with us in just a second. But first, I've got something to share with you. This is something that launched, 3 years ago or so, lovestories.com. And since this site launched, the success has been overwhelming. And one of the reasons is because of the Married in 12 Months or Less program by Jackie Dorman. And lovestories.com has something special going on right now. And we're going to play that spot, and then I'll be right back with you, okay?
Hi, I'm Jackie Dorman. Are you longing for your soulmate? And maybe you've tried everything and you feel like nothing's working. You've done the online dating, the singles ministry, possibly even the dreaded blind dates set up by well-meaning family and friends. And you're starting to wonder, where are the truly Christian men that want to seek me out for a committed, loving relationship without the head games? Well, I'm here to help. I want you to join me for my free Married in 12 Months challenge, where I'm going to show you all the tools you need to step into the love story that God has already written about you. I'm going to teach you about why now is your time, why God wants you married even more than you want to be married, what are the lies that are holding you back, the law of attraction that's biblical, and what are the tools to stepping into that bride that you want to become. So join me at lovestories.com for my free Married in 12 Months challenge, where we'll get you out of the waiting room and into the love story that you've been dreaming of. Join me at lovestories.com. I hope to see you there.
So do go check out lovestories.com, lovestories.com. Since that site was launched a couple of years, 3 years ago, whatever it was, hundreds of marriages have occurred as a result of Jackie Dorman's Married in 12 Months or Less. I don't know why it took everybody so long, because it took Shelley-Ann and myself, 7 months. But you've got to check out lovestories.com. It's fun. The 3-day challenge is free. It's going on right now at lovestories.com. And by the way, if you're married, there are programs over there for you too. There's one with Joe Beam and Kimberly Holmes called Save My Marriage. So check it out. There's new content being loaded in all the time, and I guarantee you it's going to bring great value to you and your relationship. That's lovestories.com. Now let's check out let's Let's go talk to Dennis Quaid, shall we? I just love this album. I got a little feel of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" That vibe.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I mean, you went deep on this thing. I mean,
Well,
you took
I
it to
guess
the-
it's because it sounds. I love songs that sound like they're written by anonymous, and I think that's what "Oh Brother, Where Out There, Where Art Thou" was in a
Right.
way, because it goes back into a time where things just seemed to come out of the ground, even though they did have songwriters back then. And but I love that music, and yeah, I guess that was a bit intentional,
But I really liked. But I brought it up, Jackson, because of "I'll Fly Away." I mean, what
Yeah.
a classic, and I just love your rendition of that. I mean, yeah. Did you grow up with those songs?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I grew up in the Baptist church in
You're
Houston.
forgiven.
We know that. That's the great thing about the Baptist church, is that you come in on Sunday and you're forgiven. It's the prodigal son, basically, is the story of the Baptist church, and which is actually the first song of the record. The record's a spiritual journey, and "Fallen" is really my prodigal son story, I think, taking a ride with the devil down the road.
I love the daring title, "Fallen," an album for sinners.
I wanted to get the widest possible audience I could get, so
that's why I listened to it 10 times. So how did you get the inspiration to do this?
I wrote "On My Way to Heaven" 30 years ago, and then it wound up in "I Can Only Imagine," which was a story about a son who wrote a song for his father. I wrote "On My Way to Heaven" for my mom, and it wasn't quite ready. They said, "You should write a bridge." And so I went into the trailer. I wrote a bridge in 15 minutes. So it was 30 years and 15 minutes it took me to write the song. But I wrote it for my mom to let her know I was addicted to cocaine back in the 80s, and I went into rehab for that. And I wrote it after that, kind of let her know I was okay, I think. And but I wrote that, and then I wrote "Fallen," and then I was approached by Gaither to do a gospel record or faith record, and they turned out they were just great partners to have. They let me go and do my thing and make my record, and they had great suggestions, and they've been there the entire way, and so it wound up being very personal for me, everything that I chose.
You do realize you're now a favorite at Cracker Barrel.
Fantastic for me, man. They have some great chicken soup over there too, by the way.
No,
Their biscuits and gravy cannot be denied.
So let's talk about the road to get here, because you brought up and one thing that we do on Keep the Faith is that we really help people get through seasons that they're going through. And
Right.
we people call our 800 number all the time, and people are going through addictions of all kinds, all types of things. Let's talk about that period and how you got through it and how you came out the other side.
Right. Well, I was like so many people, you think, I grew up in the 50s and the 60s, and the drug culture, which, was really started beginning back then. And then along came cocaine back. And, there were even articles in People magazine that it was like, very safe, non-addictive and all that, just sort of a happy party drug or whatever. But, it's like with anything, it's fun, and then it's fun with problems, and then it just becomes problems after a while. And I think the reason we go to things like that is to fill up that hole inside of us all that we just don't have answers for. And there are no words for the questions even. We just know something's not filled up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to drugs, we go to sex, we go to accomplishments, we go to, all kinds of things trying to fill that hole. And because we're just dead set that we're going to do it ourselves because we're the experts. And the answer that I finally came to that was having a personal savior, really, and that person is Jesus Christ.
And when you came to that realization, was it? How were you transformed? How did you work through that, especially in Hollywood?
Well, I'd grown up in the Baptist church, going to Sunday school and then services and all that. And about 12 years old, I became kind of started to become disillusioned with it. I remember I forgot my offering one day, and I really got scolded for that. And that was in my, in my 12-year-old sense of things. I started to see hypocrisy in it, the churchianity of it, that what was I was told and then what I saw around me were two different things, I guess. And I became disillusioned a bit. And my parents also divorced around that time. And so we weren't going to church as much. But I read this book when I was 17 years old, Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, which was really the story of Buddha. And in it really had the experiential feeling of God, how you feel inside, and the mystery of all that. And that kind of started me on the road to being a seeker. I still identified as a Christian. And I remember I went around the world when I was about 25 on one of those Pan Am tickets, and I had a video camera, and I asked different people all over the world who was God to them, all different kinds of religions. And the answer seemed to be the same in a way as far as the concept of who God was. But, I like I said, I mixed around. I was, thought I could do everything myself. I got to do a lot of things. It wasn't that I was living a terrible life. I've had a very lucky life, but, I've gone down roads that maybe I shouldn't have gone down. And in some ways, I'm glad I did go down because I thoroughly checked them out. Found out that they didn't work, and I had to do that. And, it was maybe a deepening in that, or God was just letting me just do that. It was his way of pruning me, And it got to a point where I, with cocaine, that we were playing the Palace Theater in Hollywood one night, this band I had, and we got a record deal that night. And this was 1990, and that very night we broke up.
Wow.
Because it was because of me, I was a mess. I really was. And I went home, and I had this white light experience that I saw myself either being dead or in jail or losing everything that meant anything to me. And so that very next day, I checked myself into rehab. And this is before, they had swimming pools and room service at rehab. So it was like a hospital in a basement. But I was there for 28 days, and I got it. And I spent I got out, and I spent recovering physically from that is tough, and spiritually too. kind of leaves a spiritual hole in there with scars, and also just your nervous system is a little fried, and it was a couple of years really, and but I read the Bible again, cover to cover, and I also read the Bhagavad Gita. I read the Dhammapada and the Quran, but I came back to the red words of Jesus. That's what hit me, and that was the beginning of my personal relationship with Jesus. Was from the red words of what he said, what he did, and he was speaking to me. And I think that's so important to have a personal relationship with him. And I never got, my mother had said that before, but I never really knew what that was. And it wasn't like it all happened at once. It's been something that has continued over the years since then and has deepened. And sometimes it's been, a little separated, and sometimes, sometimes there's silence, and but I know that he's always there. I just as real as the ground I'm walking. And so I live my life in relation to that. Try to.
The projects you've done over the last few years, you've done a lot of faith-based projects.
Yeah.
And they've really resonated. I mean, I think you found your audience, and I think they found you.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you feel that way?
Yes, I do. One of the things that, it could have happened sooner, I guess, in a way. I've got to admit that, I was kind of hesitant to really talk about my faith for a very long time. I don't know why, but people feel that way. It's but get over that hump, and you find that so many people hunger to talk about their own faith or their lack of their own faith, or their it's just something that I think a lot of times they're so hesitant to talk about because we'll feel like we're alone in that, and we're really not.
The album that you have now, is this what we still call these things, albums?
Well, I do, just because out of habit, just
it's like I still say recording.
Yeah,
it's like
made an album. This really is an album. It's like, it's not 12 separate songs or whatever. It's really got a story to it, I think.
So of this particular album that you have out, what one song is your go-to? What one song really stands out that you feel that you're the most proud of?
That's really tough. I guess it's right now it's kind of a race, because On My Way to Heaven, which kind of started this whole idea, and Fallen, which kind of begins the record. Those two songs, I guess, that I'm most proud of.
And what are your? Tell me about. First of all, tell me about your love story. I want your love story.
Yeah, well, Laura, my beautiful wife, Laura. It took me a long time to really find the person, and wasn't looking, and we just have the greatest relationship. And one of the reasons is God is, for really the first time, God is really part of the fabric. He's in the relationship, and I think that's really important. Because we couples, I think we expect the other person to solve a lot of our problems and a lot of the things in life, and that's God's job, actually, and it's too much to put on another person. And so it's also just to share the beauty and, endure the times that come along that we humans, we're not very good. And a lot of the things that come along, we start acting like kids and squabbling and stuff like that, but so it's good to have God in a relationship for that. But we just have such a beautiful relationship, and every day's a joy, and that's really what the good news is all about, is the joy of being alive.
Mhm.
And we really help each other with that.
How much time do you spend in Nashville now?
A little over half the time.
Really?
Yeah, I still have a place in Los Angeles because my kids are there, and so especially during the school year, I'm there half the time, and then we're on vacations and take them. And they come here and stuff like that. But this is really where I plan on being.
Yeah.
After they graduate and stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll want to come to a Tennessee school. You never know.
Hey, I got my daughter to come here.
You really?
Well, I was out in Westlake Village, Thousand Oaks.
Yeah.
And, they went to Oaks Christian, and I got my youngest daughter to come here and go to Belmont.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. My other daughter went to Pepperdine, but
Yeah.
she loved it here. It's a great place.
Yeah. Great schools.
So we're going to catch up with you again and talk about things that we're not going to talk about now due to the strike. But,
yeah, right.
But I can't wait to talk to you about those projects in the future. But I really appreciate when you look at you as a talent, you've really evolved into. I mean, it's hard to put you in a box. Because,
I guess so, yeah.
Because you've got so many wonderful things that you've expanded into.
Yeah, well, as far as my acting career and I guess my music career too, I wanted to.
I mean,
not put myself in a box.
I
wanted to try a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And a lot of that requires really getting to know those things and what they are. But I have appreciation for musically. I mean, I love all kinds of music as long as it's good. That's my only prerequisite with that. And I love getting to know the history of things and just to. And I always really aim at authenticity.
So in the very beginning, did you want to be a musician or?
That's the first thing. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, because I got my guitar when I was 12 years old.
Was it because of the girls or what?
That's partly it. Yeah. Yeah, it's always that, isn't it? What do you know? It's so different. I was 12 and my grandfather bought me my first guitar from Western Auto of all places. That's where everybody got their first guitar, I guess. And I became a songwriter because I knew I was never going to shred a guitar, and I taught myself. And so songwriting was kind of a defense, I guess. And it was also, I think songwriting is kind of an affliction. You either get it or you don't. And then once it's on you, it's like it never lets you, it just doesn't let you go.
Well, keep at it. Keep at it, because
it's a really great affliction, because it really does take up the time in life.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
And thanks for inviting us over.
Thank you, Dennis. Please do check out his album called Fallen. It's now streaming or it's available for purchase wherever you get your music. And thank you, Dennis, for giving us your valuable time. And thank you for spending more time in Nashville. We're so happy to have you as a neighbor. This has been CIA, Contagious Influencers of America, from the producers of Keep the Faith. Please do check out our website at contagiousInfluencers.com, where you can find all kinds of wonderful episodes. We're well over 200 episodes of our podcast. And of course, our radio show website is KeepTheFaith.com. And there's all kinds of goodies for you there too, okay? Hey, I'm David Sams. Go out there this week and live that life in living color, because it sure is a heck of a lot more interesting than living in black and white. I'll see you next time.